So hi friends, here we are at our Beatitudes Reflection time. And today we're going to be joining a huge crowd of people following Jesus. We do that most every week, and we know that Jesus sees their hurts and pains and cares for them in so many ways. So he leads them to a mountain. And we're going to climb the mountain together as we've been doing every week. And remember, there are many ways to climb a mountain. Shout them out to me because by now I think you know them. Okay. I think I heard somebody say hike. So yes, we can hike up the mountain. Remember, we march our hands like this, or we can do this with our hands and our palms. We're walking along. So we can hike up the mountain. What other ways can we go up the mountain? Oh, I think I heard one of you yell out, we can use a rope. So here we are. I've got my rope to pull me up the mountain. What's another one? Rolling up the mountain. We can go in our hiking wheelchair and sit down and roll the wheels like this and head up on up the mountain. Or the last way that we do every week, or one of our choices, is that we can climb up the mountain either alone or with a friend. So climbing is like this. You're reaching up and grabbing a rock, and then you're lifting your legs up and you're climbing up the mountain by yourself or with a friend. So let's pick a way to climb up the mountain for you today. It doesn't have to be the same way you did it last week. You could choose a new way. I think I rolled up the mountain last week in my hiking wheelchair. So I think I'm going to pick climbing up a mountain this week. So let's go. Are you ready? I'm going to count to 20. Choose your way of getting up that mountain. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Phew! We made it, friends. Let's find a seat and settle our bodies in after our great big climb. In your imagination, let's look around and see what you can see. Grab a pair of invisible binoculars. Look around. What do you see? In Jesus' time, people believed that mountains were holy and special places to be with God. I think that might be because they reach high up into the sky. Can you reach your hands up high into the sky? Stand up on your tippy toes and stretch as far as you can. Jesus told them about God's kingdom on the mountain. You can think of a kingdom as the way the world works or is set up. In God's kingdom, remember, there is abundance. There is more than enough. Honor, food, money, love, power, and resources for every child of God to thrive. So the part of the Bible this week that we're going to focus on is Jesus told us in Matthew chapter 5, verse 4, he said, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." There were many people in Jesus' time, just like today, who were taught that crying was a shameful thing to do, that mourning showed weakness, and it showed that people were too vulnerable. Many of the rich and powerful people spent their time trying not to cry. They focused on gathering money and control to feel strong and unshakable. But in this promise, Jesus speaks to the people who mourn, or cry is another word, and he praises those people. Why do you think he did this? Can you just think for a minute? Why would Jesus speak to the people and praise the people who cry? So I'd like you guys to think about that for a minute. I'm going to wonder out loud. I wonder if it would be because Jesus is a compassionate guy and he sees their hearts and feels what they're feeling. You guys probably wonder all sorts of things. So here we go. He's speaking to the people who cry and he's praising them. I bet everyone here has cried before. I have many times. I think I sort of have a sensitive personality, so I cry quite easily. I'll share that with you. But why do you think people cry? Go ahead and tell us some reasons. But I want you to know that crying shows we are alive, awake, and aware. Crying even shows that we are brave. Crying shows that we are willing to feel our pain and sometimes other people's pain. You're not trying to block the pain around you or keep your distance from it. You're being brave and acknowledging it. Tears and crying are important, especially when what makes us cry is painful or hard to hold. It's also a beautiful way that we connect with God. Did you know that God cries too? And that Jesus cried during his time on earth? God cries for everyone. God's heart is wide and holds all the pain of everyone hurting throughout this whole world. God holds all that pain. And when we cry, it's a way of sharing in God's heart. Jesus promises here that God will comfort us when we cry. And Jesus promised us that God would bring comfort and make things right for all the people listening who couldn't provide for their own needs, no matter how hard they tried. They were told they didn't belong because of who they are or what they'd done, and how they'd struggled because the world is set up to harm them, which causes them to cry and grieve or mourn. One way God brings comfort is through you. Shout out your name. That's right. I'm going to shout out Diane. It's through me. And it's through each one of you. Can you hold your palms up right now? Like this? Face your palms up. When you offer your hands or your loving words, especially to someone who is sad, you are God's comfort to that person. Crying together and being vulnerable always helps us belong with each other, and it brings us closer to God. So I want you to mull that over this week. If you have a moment this week that you feel frustrated or angry or upset or hurt, and you cry, that's a time to be closer to God, because you know that God is crying with you, and you know that Jesus speaks to you. Blessed are you who are sad or cry.